So Sue, what are we going to look for in an industry partner?
We're looking for 5 main things when we're looking for an industry partner. The first thing is we're looking for a partner with passion. There's nothing better than listening to someone talk about their business or product with passion. These are the people we want working with our students because it creates more engagement. Passion is infectious. And also, if they're passionate about their job, they'll want to share it with your students. Secondly, find a partner with a problem that you or your teammate can connect with. Your interest and passion will rub off on the students, and it's easier to make curriculum connections with a problem that you understand. Remember?
Yeah. Thirdly, you really want to find a problem that fits with your curriculum of your year level. At the end of the day, as a teacher, we want to make curriculum connections. Now, that might be with maths or science or technology, but it could also be with English or HASS. So it's not necessarily about the connections within the STEM disciplines. And that's where people fall over, is that they're trying to assess problem-based learning as a curricular area. STEM is not a curricular area. And so if you try and look at assessing STEM for the development of, they really solved that problem well, who cares? That's not in the curriculum. So let's stick to the curriculum and do the content in the designated specialist classes, and then the application of that is through PBL or through STEM.
If you want to look at quantifying what we're doing in the classrooms, all you need to do is look at the kids' grades and their effort. There are kids that are going to be getting decent grades and decent effort for subjects like science and maths and technology that previously they wouldn't have been engaged in, and we didn't have to drive it out of them.
Your maths, you know the students are going to be doing, well, you hope because you're not quite sure where the students are going to take it, but it's likely that they're going to be looking at area or something of that sort. So your maths lessons, you make sure that you've got some work going on about area, so that they're supporting that knowledge that they need to answer the question.
And the minute they know that it's real, and there's an application for what they've learnt, that's when they'll remember it. And that's when they come driven to those classes, to maths, to science or whatever, with the questions that they want to know to be able to move forward. I've not seen that in any other way of teaching and learning. I've not seen that need to know learning happen in such a meaningful, directed, engaged way.
When students see that in a curriculum area lesson, the things that they're learning, they can relate immediately to something that they're trying to solve in the problem-based learning. Their engagement in their curriculum lesson, for example, a maths lesson, is so much more than when it's just some random theory and they can't really see the point of why they're doing it anyway. When they can see that connection, I need to know this so that I can solve that problem, it's so much more meaningful to them.
Fourthly, find a partner with a problem that hasn't been solved. I can't stress this enough. This is a long, drawn-out process, and the carrot at the end of the project is that sense of accomplishment. Whilst there's not an expectation that a company would adopt a student's solution, often what we find is the solution used was very similar anyway, and then that's enough for a student to feel that they've really achieved something special.
And often the solution that the industry partner has used incorporates different elements of different solutions that students have come up with themselves.
Yeah, so it's not just one group, it's the entire cohort.
Yeah, so everybody feels as though they've won.
Yeah.
We had that problem where the students knew that a problem had actually been solved, and they couldn't relate to it in the same way. It really spoiled the project for them.
The issue we had when the students found out that the problem had been solved, which was in the preliminary presentation, our expert said at the end that there's houses that have been built on this contaminated site, and straight away it was, well, why are we doing this for? What's the point?
They can see that, well, there is a solution, why don't you just use that? Why don't you just ask that guy, he'll tell you what the solution is. So it takes a bit of the fun out of it maybe, which I think is a big part of this whole journey It's the excitement of the fact that maybe their idea could be used by these people. Maybe they could come up with a solution that no one else has thought of. I think that's a big part of it. So,
yeah, a lot of students, I don't know, they weren't very happy that we were getting something's already solved, like, it's kind of pointless, waste of time.
Well, if it's not been solved, it makes you feel like you're making a difference, where on the other hand, if it has already been solved, it's kind of just another task, I suppose.
And we talk about engagement. How are they going to be engaged if they know that there's already a solution to that problem?
It's like looking up the answer in the back of the textbook or trying to guess what's in the teacher's head. That's what learning comes down to in classes. It's what learning comes down to too often in schools. Kids know that they're successful when they've got the right answer, and they know that the teacher has the answer in their head. So if a kid can guess what the answer is that's in the teacher's head, they'll be right. They'll get an A. That's how you mark kids, because they've guessed the right answer, or they've worked out the right answer, or you've taught them the right answer and they've reproduced it. That's not what this is about, and that's why it's really challenging for the teachers as well as for the students, because there is no one right answer. Anybody could be getting it right. Anybody.
Many people.
Yes, all of the students can get it right, and they might have completely different answers, but they're all right in the end. When they know that there isn't an answer, that's what fires them up, not a correct answer. Because they're doing what happens in the real world. They're solving problems that don't have a predetermined answer. That's so important. So finally, you want to find an industry partner who can fit within your timescale. So summing up, the 5 things to look for in an industry partner are up on the screen right now.